gentlemen, welcome to the What's Why and How Can I podcast. Today, we have a special guest on. Her name is Tanya Kravchuk. Not a politician, not yet. Actually, more of a person that cares for the future of the next generation.
Absolutely.
So welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, thank you for coming on. One, I have no idea what the office you're going for, like what it is, what you do. So we would love to find out about literally kind of the title, what and why. And then how can maybe there's kids out there that already know from a young age that they want to be, in some kind of seat in the city or education, stuff like that. So first, welcome. And would you like to do like a little introduction
Sure.
of how you got to where you're at today?
Yeah. Well, I am a mom. So I have 4 kids. The
Okay.
oldest is 15. The youngest is 4.
Okay.
And 3 of them are in school. My husband and I own a construction company.
Okay.
So recently I started working there. But for most of my career, I worked in nonprofits in social services. So I worked at a domestic violence shelter and a shelter for kids who have been abused or neglected.
Okay.
So my heart has always just been like with kids. In church, I serve in Sunday school ministry and kids camps, kind of all of that stuff. So I just have a natural inclination to help kids, to work with kids.
Okay.
And then I have always been politically interested. I definitely advocate voting. I'm kind of the person who sends everyone the voter
The
guide,
reminder text message.
the reminder, and also like, hey, if you don't know, vote for these people.
Yeah.
And people will always come to me for advice, like, oh, well, you're political. I'm like, I don't have any office or anything. I'm just interested.
Yeah.
I try to stay aware. So that kind of is the background of me and why I started looking at school boards. And in 2020, when schools shut down, I think most parents kind of had their eyes opened. And it was the first time that people started to see and hear what's happening in the classrooms. And all these alarm bells are ringing, like what is happening, critical race theory. I don't know how familiar you are with all of these buzzwords, but there's a lot that was happening.
Yeah, I'll interrupt you real quick. I'm familiar with the buzzword phrases, but I can't say I'm too knowledgeable in like all the details. So I would love to cover some of those later
Sure.
tonight.
Yeah. So there is just a lot of these ideologies, these like worldviews, these ways of thinking that I think have been creeping into our school system and into our government for a long time. But we have been kind of blissfully unaware or thinking, oh, that's not happening at my school. It's happening somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then during Zoom, it was like this great aha moment of, oh gosh, I keep hearing something like, these phrases of equity or disrupt. My favorite is disrupt. I love meaning the opposite of love. People are always trying to disrupt models. I'm like, why are you just trying to disrupt something like core family values? They're trying to disrupt it.
Yeah.
And as a parent, I'm thinking like, no.
That's concerning, yeah.
Of course it's concerning. These are my kids. I don't want you to disrupt anything. I like my family. Leave it this way.
Yeah.
BLM, like when looking at that movement and kind of the Marxist origin of that, and a lot of that disrupt language also, they're trying to disrupt the nuclear family. So those little like phrases, they're in a lot of these ideologies that are being pushed through in our schools. And it looks very innocuous, very innocent. So they want to teach you compassion. So they call it social emotional learning. They want you to be a good friend. And so they're going to focus on equity and inclusivity, and keyword equity, not equality, but equity.
Let's go there. Define for a parent like myself or many parents barely learning English, right? We have a lot of influx of immigrants coming in. And for them, like all of this terminology is like from day one, so it's normal for them.
Yep.
Why is this not normal for us?
Well, it actually should be normal for like our parents and our grandparents, because this is a lot of the same vocabulary that communists use.
Okay.
Because everything had to be equitable. If you had $100 and I only had $5, and it doesn't matter that I didn't work as hard as you did, it's not fair that you have $100 and I only have $5. So you should take however much money divided. I'm not good at math, but it needs to be equitable.
So I give you $45, so we both have
50.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, we
Okay.
probably
I
set
would
some
still have
aside for
$5
the government.
more 'cause I had 100.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did preface that you don't have to be good at math to run for school board. So I qualify.
You just have to care.
You just have to care.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So equity is about being fair. Quotation
Yes,
marks.
being fair,
Okay.
which is very confusing for kids because they do want to be fair and we teach them compassion, we teach them kindness. And so when they hear terms in school about equity and inclusivity, like their developing mind thinks like, oh yeah, this
Makes
is what we
sense.
talk about at home.
Be a good friend, right?
Right. Be a good friend. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. And they don't know what stands behind it because it's like the foundation for this woke ideology that's just going to be progressively pushed on them until you discard all of your beliefs. You should have no beliefs of your own. You should just accept everything that they're feeding you, and everything needs just to be equitable. But what that happens, and what really upset me, is that it really lowers the educational standards. Because if you have someone who's a high achiever and someone who, maybe their parents are immigrants and are illiterate even in their own language, right? And so the class is going to focus on getting this person up to
par.
Yeah, but not even.
Yeah.
And then ignore this person. And anyway, he's doing so well, or she, and it's probably because of white privilege. So we're just going to ignore that person and focus all of our efforts on this person who's struggling.
Okay.
And so then we just lower the bar drastically for everyone. And like our schools suck.
Yeah.
Like just the test scores were finally released this week for California. And 57, no, sorry. So for math, 33% of our students are on grade level for math, and 47% are on grade level for English. We can't read in California.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And the governor said, but look at California. We're doing better than the other states because some of the other states had like 45% instead of 47%.
Yeah. So we're
Yay!
comparing us to it's like what mom and dad always said, don't compare yourself to the worst.
Yeah.
We're comparing ourselves to the people that are worse than us to make ourselves feel better
Well,
about it.
we're Slavic, so when you come home with an A-, your parents are like, why didn't you get an A+? They're not like, great job. They're like, you could have done better.
Exactly.
So we're used to that, but a lot of people are like, oh, you tried. The important thing is you tried.
Congrats.
So that's kind of the reason, of why I was interested in the school board, is because I'm like, okay, we need to change this. We need to be involved. And so then I looked it up. What's required? Like, why do you need to? And it wasn't that difficult. You don't even have to be good at math. They'll still accept you.
So how many people are running against you?
2 people are running against me. I'm running for the San Juan School District, which is the 10th largest in California.
Okay, nice.
So we have 45,000 students, and it's such a large district that last year the board decided to change it from at large, which means that everyone runs against each other, and the top vote getters, like if there's 3 seats, then the top 3 vote getters win, to by district area. So I live in Orangevale, and I have 2 competitors or opponents just in Orangevale and Citrus Heights, and one of us is going to get this seat. And then there's the competition in Citrus Heights and in Fair Oaks and in Arden Arcade.
Okay.
So everyone's like in a little smaller area.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you know kind of where you're up against these folks, or you don't know until election day?
It's hard to say. You have to spend a lot of money on polling. So that's something people should know. Elections cost money. Campaigns cost money.
Yes.
That was one of the depressing facts that I had to
Acknowledge.
learn early on. You have to fundraise, which if you love fundraising, fantastic. But it kind of sucks to ask all your friends and family for money.
Yeah, and then it's like, and they don't see the tax dollars at work.
It's also contributions to campaigns are not tax deductible, so that's another ouch.
So it makes it even tougher for to ask.
Yeah, it's a hard sell.
That
Except if I'm like, but come on, don't you love kids?
Yeah, do it for your child.
Don't you care about the future?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to kind of our California education sucks.
Yeah.
I spoke to a teacher not too long ago, and she signed a 1-year contract with a school. And I asked her, like, hey, don't you want to go to a better school? Don't you want to work in a kind of a better environment? And she said, yeah, but like they don't require much there. The kids are so easy. Like the curriculum, I don't have to teach them anything as long as they show up. And I'm just like, okay, hold up, what?
Yeah.
we're just keeping these people alive, and as long as they could pass some like probably very simple test that they've progressed from 4+4 to 8+8.
That's so unfortunate.
It's crazy. Like
We're failing our kids.
yeah, if the school isn't challenging a teacher teaching, I can only imagine like the teachers that are teaching the students.
There's a lot of great teachers, and a lot of them try really hard, but that's actually the function of a school board, is to hold the school personnel accountable, primarily the superintendent. But that's kind of what you're there for, is the oversight and kind of accountability to make sure that we're not wasting taxpayer dollars.
Okay.
And if you're a homeowner, you're paying taxes regardless if you have kids who go to school or not, if if your kids are grown and you're a grandparent, or if you never have kids, you're still paying for taxes. So you should care where your tax money is going.
100%. I agree with you. So what, like, by oversight, would you meet with all the school representatives, superintendents?
That's part of it. So are we getting into the how?
Yeah.
Should I go into
Let's go.
Okay, so the school board acts as like an intermediary, like a bridge between the community and the school.
Okay.
Because it's a public school and it's accepting government or public funds, so our taxpayer dollars, it requires oversight. So the school board is like the government for schools, for districts.
The governing body for the school district.
Yep.
Okay.
And so they have a couple of like primary functions. The first is that they hire and fire the superintendent, who is the most important person at the school. Okay. He or she will then will hire the rest of the personnel and kind of just make sure that, the schools are running properly. Okay. Absolutely. So it's like the CEO of the school system. Okay. School district. And then the school board also sets budgetary priorities. It adopts the budget and then makes sure that things are running well, like oversees facilities, air conditioning, drinking fountains, blacktops, all of that stuff. Okay. It sets policy. So it looks at existing policy and it can create new policy or make revisions. And that's really important because in a bureaucracy, school boards are bureaucracy. Like things run really slowly, and you have to, if you want to see change, like a lot of parents get mad and people run for school board for the wrong reasons. They have like a pet peeve about something,
They think they can get it done in a week.
Like I'm just going to change that. I don't know what, I don't know what it is, but some people have these things. Like, I'm going to get on the school board and I'm just going to like fire all the teachers. Like, no, you actually don't have power to do that. You can only hire or fire the superintendent. And
even then, would you have to vote on it, or you have the will?
Do. Yeah, you do vote. But what you do is you set policy, and then policy affects change that you want to see. It's not going to be as fast as you probably want it, but you set those policies.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about policies. Like policies, are we talking about rules that the superintendents and teachers need to abide by? Are we talking about like curriculum? What exactly?
Yeah, both of those things. So the curriculum I would put in a different category because the board, one of the main functions of a board is also to select and approve the curriculum for the school. And that's actually like my top reason for running for school board, is because I wanted to make sure that we have good curriculum. And currently San Juan School District is like very heavy CRT driven, like lots of gender and sexual ideologies that I disagree with. And I think if we all dove in, we would be shocked to see what goes on there. But the board can set policy about the curriculum. So lots of lots of school boards have in the last 2 years adopted policies that ban CRT or so a lot of like, can I say like woke, you know? A lot of them will create policy that requires teachers to take cultural competency classes or
like this just crazy training.
All of like
they call it training.
LGBT, how to be compassionate, how to do all of this stuff. And they'll just create policy like every teacher must do X amount of hours of training a year. Well, obviously if they go and do the training and you're pushing this, then they're going to go into the classroom and then they're going to teach that to our kids, maybe not outright, maybe with things that they post around the classroom or the way that they present information. So the policy matters.
Correct.
And you can create a policy that bans that. You can create a resolution that says we will not adopt a curriculum that goes against whatever.
Nuclear family.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Parental rights.
Okay. What's your opinion? So I think it was earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken, where parents became terrorists.
Oh yeah, domestic terrorists.
Domestic terrorists.
Yeah, they went back on that. They did apologize and said, we went too far, but only because of public opinion. If people didn't stand up and say, what, they would have rolled with it. And that I definitely see that as being kind of the future, because parents are being pushed out of the equation. And most people don't realize that school boards are run by special interest groups. And the primary special interest group in California are teachers' unions. So do you want to dive into that?
Yes.
I mean, that's really political. I don't know if you wanted to go there.
Yeah, let's go there, because I think, unfortunately, I think a lot of parents don't understand the impact that teachers' unions actually have on their schools and their kids. Because at the end of the day, like, you go meet your kid's teacher, and she's a sweet lady.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I mean, what can go wrong in the classroom?
Absolutely. Yeah, most teachers don't realize what their union does. Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, they think that they're fighting for like fair practices, for their next raise, for vacation time, all of this. And they do, to their credit, they do that. But they pretty much make it mandatory for teachers to be part of the union. And there's 300,000 teachers in California. They each pay $1,000 in dues a year to the teachers union, and then they take that money and they use it to push like all of this woke ideology into our schools. And they do it by supporting ballot measures. They do it by creating programs like I mentioned, the social emotional learning earlier. It's so fun. They'll do like cartoons and this a summer school program or a reading program, and they'll put it in there where we're building character traits. This month we're going to focus on honesty, and next month we're going to focus on trust, and then the third month we're going to focus on tolerance, because tolerance is the exact same thing as honesty and trust. That's what they want you to believe. Like they're building that in there. And if you don't, I hate to say it, but like you almost like you have to look for it to know that it's there. It'll look like innocent unless you kind of
actually pay attention a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So the teachers union, they take that money and they put it into projects, policies, ideas that they would like to push. And I always stop and think, like, what does the teachers union have to do with the first proposition ballot right now? It's abortion. Like, what do they have to do with that?
Literally nothing.
What does that have to do with taking care of students, But they focus on this stuff all the time. They push it. And it's scary when you look at the agendas for the teachers union conferences. They were talking about LGBT, 10 years ago, before like it was on any of our radar. And it takes time, but they're like focused on it and they get it done. Meanwhile, parents, we just kind of go with the flow. It's kind of like that frog that's in the cold water, I don't know that saying.
Yeah, where you get
my
cooked
grandparents
slowly.
say,
Yes.
Where the water temperature rises and it doesn't realize that it's getting boiled.
And you know what the other thing is like many parents don't have more than one or two kids.
Yeah.
And so in their minds, they're like, oh, by the time my kid grows up, like he'll be out of school. Even if this stuff is coming down the pipeline, it's not going to affect my kid.
See, you have to like really be involved in your kid's education. And I know a lot of people are not, or again, they just don't see it. But
I'll be honest, I know I need to be more involved.
Literally, I thought I was involved. I was on my kid's site council. I was VP of the site council for the elementary school. I would do homework with them. I mean, I thought I was really involved. And I was doing homework with my third grader. And in third grade, Michelle Obama, she changed this when Obama was in office. They start looking at fact or opinion. And it's so sneaky the way that they push it in. And if it's a good teacher, the teacher will kind of change it or kind of will talk about it with the kids. So it's not like really damaging. But if the teacher doesn't know better or agrees with this ideology, then they will push it. So the example was soup is good, that's an opinion, or apples are the best fruit. But the dangerous part was when it included values into opinions. And so it was like, lying is wrong. Lying is wrong.
It's a fact.
That's a fact. And it's a biblical fact. So for my daughter, it's absolutely wrong. But it goes into the opinion category. So in third grade, a 9 or 8 or a 9-year-old is now starting to change her or his mindset that actually it's an opinion.
Yeah.
That's, you do you.
Only my
that's
parents think
your truth.
lying is wrong. Somebody else.
Right. For them, it's not wrong. And so even that little twist, like, then it matters like how we approach life, it's our worldview. It's being shaped from kindergarten. And we just don't notice it, because if I was doing the homework and I think, yeah, that's true. But also, why did they put that in there? Why can't they just say, green is the best color? Okay, that'd be easy to argue. No, that's an opinion. But when you put value propositions into there, you're messing with their mind on purpose. And you don't have to do that in third grade, but they want to.
It's almost like a philosophical class that they're trying to like reprogram.
Well,
that's what they probably are.
Blocks.
Reprogramming the kids a little bit.
They're disrupting. They don't make a secret of it.
Education
They literally will
disruptors.
tell you. They're disrupting the norms. That's what their goal is. They want to disrupt.
That's crazy. So when you signed up to run, did you have to meet with like the teachers union here? Did you have to meet with anybody and kind of present your case
No, I chose not to meet with the teachers union. So the teachers union does give money to their candidates of choice.
That was my next
question.
Okay.
My opponent has now received almost $17,000 from the teachers union, just him alone. And there's 4 races in the San Juan School District. So in the San Juan School District, the teachers union to date is up to almost $70,000 that they are pouring into these people's races, hoping that they get elected. Like, who spends $70,000 and
on a small little
and thinks that there's not going to be a return on this investment? Because they say like, oh, we're so fair, anyone can get this money. But again, if you're investing, you're looking for some type of return. So what is the return that you hope to see? You hope that they vote in your favor, that they're just going to rubber stamp every policy that you suggest to them.
Certain people.
Absolutely. So I just principally did not want to meet with them. I'm definitely not going to take their money. I don't want to take any union money. So that was just that for me.
That's crazy. Well, one thing I'm gonna tell you was I love how you turned your sign from a square to a little diamond out, because I was driving down Greenback, I think it was last Monday, and I was like, oh look, Tanya, and then like got that light color, and I'm like, I can't believe nobody's ever thought of that.
So
who was behind this campaign, Tanya?
It extends your eye clicks. So I majored in marketing and communications. Sac State, go Hornets.
There you go.
And so if you switch it to the diagonal, you get more eye clicks. So the eye gets tired. We see so much information every day when we're driving. We're being constantly bombarded.
Yeah.
But just by turning it to the diagonal, you just get like, I don't know how many more, but you get a little bit more mileage. Like, people will look at it 3 more times than 5. But I had someone suggest that to me. I can't take credit for it.
That's pretty cool. Because the first thing I literally started driving down the street looking for the turned signs. I was like, dude, I wonder if she like hired somebody, or is there people that like volunteered? Like, hey, Tanya, I'm gonna help you design this.
So there are consultants. Like, once you start, if you say that you're running for something, there are so many consultants. Everyone wants your money. Yeah. And I'm like, I have no money. I didn't even know this required money. Yeah. So I should mention that. In order to run, it could technically be free. Okay. But there's no filing fee or anything. You just go down to the county elections office and you file your paperwork, and it could be free. But if you want to have a candidate statement printed in the voter guide, then that costs, it's different for every jurisdiction, but for San Juan School Board, it was $700. So your first, like off the, start of the races, your first expense, $700. And then after that, it's like, I don't know, the sky's the limit. If you want signs, if you want advertisement, ads on Facebook or Instagram, if you want to send mail, And you want to do all or some of those things if you want to be effective.
Yeah.
And that all costs money.
Any door to door for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Really?
actually, voter contact, like talking with them, door knocking, is one of the best ways to engage voters, because they sometimes they turn into donors.
Okay.
On Saturday, I talked to a guy for 40 minutes, and he gave me eggs, honey, and a check.
And so you sold all that, got some more money.
No, I didn't. It was organic eggs and organic
That's
honey.
awesome.
And take that home. So no, when you talk with them, I mean, you get to tell your story. People meet you. People vote for people. Yeah. Just like people, I was in fundraising. So donors is like my primary word, like at the tip of my tongue. So people give to people and people vote for people. You always want to have a connection. Like, why are you running? Why should I vote for you? Why do you care?
Right.
And the best way to do that is get in front of people. And the cheapest way to do that is knocking on doors.
And just walking. I mean, your time. Is there like a description that you have to provide about yourself under your name? Do they care what political party you're associated with?
So school board races are nonpartisan, so you cannot identify if you whichever party you belong to, but there are rules about that description, and it'll tell you, like when you go to say that you want to run, they'll give you a packet with rules about that title. I forget what it's called, but mine is business owner / parent. Okay. And there's just very specific rules.
Okay, gotcha.
You can't say in that like the best CEO. It can't be a value statement. We're on third grade, so it has to be very
can't
generic.
Be no opinions.
No opinions. Yeah.
Okay. Your three main kind of like problems with the district right now, and maybe you know of some like district specific things that affect the district you're running for, and maybe something broader. Yeah.
So the first thing is just parental rights. I'm really concerned with this tendency that I see across the nation of pushing parents out. Mm-hmm. We're disrupting the nuclear family. We're not taking into account what parents want for their kids, whether that's with the vaccine or the masks or the school shutdowns. Like we advocated and we asked, like, please don't do this to our kids. It's really damaging. And the school board just said, sucks.
Okay, so school board says, well, you still have the rights. Go to a private school. Like, why should we change?
I'm paying money for this. Why do I need to go to a private school? San Juan School District, that's 0.17% of my tax dollars. Like, I want to, Dave Ramsey says to tell your money where it needs to go. Yeah. Like, I want to tell my tax money where to go.
Okay, perfect. I like that. So, the tax money is spent in a certain way. Is this like, are you going to make money when you have the seat, or is this strictly a volunteer type of thing?
It's a volunteer for everyone. Jurisdiction is different. Okay. For San Juan School District, it's primarily volunteer position. And then you also have a $700 stipend a month. Okay. So, but you do have to put in.
Don't get too rich now.
Right? I know. Yeah. People are like, politics. Like, wow, the fame. Like when I found out. You
won't get pulled over by police officers.
City council gets even less. They get $600. I'm like, wow.
For city council?
Yeah.
Well, they probably like, you have to deal with parents, so it gives you a couple more.
$100 more for all that. I think it's called public servant for a reason. I mean, you're only doing it because you have to care. Why else would you do this? It's 40 hours required a month that you invest into this.
And you're probably going to be doing more.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you want to be effective, and I absolutely do, and it's a big school district, you want to get to know the principals. You want to get to know the campuses, what's going on. In such a big school district, you're going to have different needs. We have schools in Citrus Heights that have high percentage of Afghan refugees, the new Ukrainian refugees. Like their parents are illiterate in their own language. That's totally different from a school that is like an enrollment school. Even my elementary school that my daughter goes to, they're not any type of title. So they don't have free and reduced lunch or and not enough of them speak a different language. So there's like certain schools get more or less funding depending on the needs. Yeah. The needs. So within the school district, you have, let's just say, like very poor schools, poor demographics, or ones that have the international baccalaureate program. Like very different. So you have to see what their needs are, and be responsive to the community and to the families.
So that what's crazy to me is, and my kids are in the North Highlands district. But there are those types of schools. Like each school has a little bit of a different program, but you can't just go and pick your school, like where you want your kid to go. Like, say I came from Iran,
Yeah.
and my kid is super smart at math, and I know my kid's like just a smarty, and I can't move him to a better school because because I can't afford a payment on a better home, right? Because I just came.
You should be able to have them go to the better school. And actually, one of the things that's very important to me is school choice. So I do want people to be able to choose the school of their choice and for us to have more options for them. But you should be able, you are paying tax dollars, so you can apply for a inter-district transfer to go to another school. Transportation might be an issue. He might not fit in the area. So there's other logistics that you have to deal with, but they should be able to go to another school. Okay,
let's talk about school choice. Say everybody wants to go to a good school and nobody wants to go to this bad school. Is that going to push the district to make this school better?
You would think. We've been waiting for that for a long time.
But literally nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
So who does this?
Well, okay,
maybe are they waiting for like the parents just to like rise up and question them?
I mean, anyone to run for the school board, here are the qualifications. You have to be 18 years old. You have to be a citizen of California. You have to reside in the district that you're running for. And you can't have any conflict of interest or go against the state or local laws. So sometimes that means like being an employee of the district or having a felony or something like that. But essentially that's it. Oh, you have to be a registered voter. Okay. So it's like a low bar. Anyone can run. Of the 5 people that we have on our board right now, only one of them is a parent with a child in the school district.
You?
No, I'm not on the board yet. I'm just running.
On the board
on
at
the current one. Yeah. So only one of those people has a personal stake in the decisions that they make. Everyone else, like my opponent, it's going to be hopefully won't be his 3rd term, but he's been on the board for 2 terms, for 8 years. He's retired. He has like a PhD in education.
Has nothing else to do.
Nothing. I mean, he actually is pretty involved in the community, but yeah, like this is just like a great thing that, to do in his spare time. So people might have the best intentions. Like, I don't know what their intentions are, but if you don't have like skin in the game, honestly, like, why are you going to fight and work really hard to make something happen? It's extra work.
What's the guy's name, your opponent's?
Mike McKibben.
Mike McKibben. Can I just address him real quick?
Sure.
Mr. Mike McKibben, look, let's be honest. Like, you might be worth more in like a retirement planning commission for the elderly folks in San Juan, but not in an education. With all due respect, sir. Tanya here, she's on fire, as you can tell. So just, if you can kindly please make some room. Okay, onward.
I mean, I really do think that one of the benefits of COVID was that parents got fed up, people wanted to get engaged, and we didn't do that before. We're busy, right?
COVID pushed the buttons. Yeah.
Like people like Mike, they have more time. There's a reason why most school board members are like males over age 50. They just have more time and they want to do something, stay active.
It makes sense. There's a reason of why at this point, the public servants are old. Yeah. Because
it's super
they're retired
intensive.
Or either they're super rich because they're that old.
Yeah.
They've made a bunch of money, and like people like yourself that have a bunch of kids, that have a family to feed, a business to run. Like you just don't have time for that kind of stuff.
I don't, but I'm making time because it's important, and our kids are worth it. And I think this is a crucial time in history for parents to step up and I'm telling all of my friends and family because I need their money and I need them to volunteer and and in the beginning, it was really hard for me to promote myself. Yeah. And then I'm thinking, hold on, I'm not promoting myself. I'm fighting for all of you. Yeah. So I'm saying I'm doing my part. I need you to do yours. I need your support. And even if I don't win, I think I will, but even if I don't, everyone needs to get involved. Open your eyes, pay attention. It is your duty. It is your responsibility.
In case somebody doesn't watch this till the end, where can they donate?
TanyaKravchuk.com.
TanyaKravchuk.com. We'll put that in the description. Any kind of QR codes, anything else?
Nah, just TanyaKravchuk.com.
TanyaKravchuk.com.
Yeah,
perfect.
All the information's on there.
Okay, onward.
Yeah. So, but I really want to encourage people to just do your civic duty. First of all, vote. That's so important. I know that coming from, our Slavic countries where there's a lot of mistrust of government. To this day, I know people that are like, oh, it's all already bought and paid for.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah.
of course, voter integrity is like a big deal right now. Just put all of that aside, just do your part, vote, be engaged. And if your kids are, even if they're not, honestly, just pay attention to what's happening. At the very least, you can subscribe to like parent groups, or to me, if you want me to give you an update of what's happening in the school district or school system, like maybe that's my next thing. I'll just write a blog, like subscribe to a blog and just
Where you
get
can
little
provide the
snippets
information.
of like, here's what's happening. You can't change the world, but here's the 3 things you can do this week, and this could make a difference.
To affect. Okay. Do you have like weekends where people help you go out, walk door to door? Like where can people get involved with
Yeah,
you?
absolutely. So on Saturdays, we do a big push. This upcoming Saturday, we're doing a walk with Kevin Kiley. He's running for Congress, and some of our area overlaps. So we've been doing that. We've been kind of leveraging areas that overlap with other people who are running for office. So we've done a lot of walks with Josh Hoover and Tamika Hamilton. So this upcoming Saturday, we're doing a walk with Kiley. And then there's only one more walk before Election Day. So
Election day is
November 8th.
November 8th.
But everyone should have their ballots already. If you're a registered voter, then you should have your ballot in the mail. And it's very easy to vote. Take it out. If you don't feel comfortable voting for all of the positions, or if you don't know, then just vote for the ones you know. And it's okay if you leave some
Tanya
blank.
Kravchuk now.
You do know. So yeah, please vote Tanya Kravchuk. And if, so fill it out and then sign it's a pink envelope, sign the front, date it, and drop it in the mail. You don't need to put a postage stamp or anything. It's already stamped, courtesy of California.
So we talked about 2 things that you want to change. What's the third one?
Oh, so parental rights was very important to me. So I want to get parent voice back into the school system. I want to strengthen our curriculum. I feel like the school system right now is like focused on social experimentation instead of solid curriculum. And I'm not okay with my kids being guinea pigs. So I want to focus on curriculum, strengthening that, and giving kids a choice to, not everyone's going to go to college, but we need to invest in trades and vocational training. And we can do that at the high school level. We already have some of that at like San Juan High School. And that's really useful. Like we definitely need electricians. We need people to go into construction, and some kids are going to want to do that. So I'd love to focus more on figuring out what kids' strengths are and kind of encouraging them to go into that, and helping them just be successful, like give back to their community.
You just mentioned like construction in school. We were just, the Neville group was just part of a brand new school opening in Sacramento, of a guy that opened up in a school. I think it's an elementary and middle, but they focus heavily on trades.
That's awesome.
So it's like where the kids grow up and they already like are exposed to different, and you don't have to go work with your hands. You might be able to go into like a management position and stuff. But there was a bunch of like general contractors out there helping, opening up.
So it's a charter?
It is a charter.
Very cool.
I was very impressed. And it's sad because public schools can be so much better.
Yeah.
If I guess if the right people were there.
Yeah. I mean, and kids are all different, right? So out of my 4, they're all different. The oldest is completely different from the youngest, and they're the 2 boys. And so I'll just look at them like my oldest, he could sit next to me for 3 hours and just be quiet.
Yeah.
Like he was just this great. I don't know where he came from, but I thought, wow, I'm such a good mom.
Yeah.
Nope.
Look at the other girl's kid. Dude, crazy.
Until my daughter was born, and then she was running circles around him, like, stop it, calm down, sit down.
Your brother wasn't like this.
Exactly. So kids are different, and some of them are going to need to work with their hands, because to stay engaged, even to activate their mind, they need to do something with their hands.
Right.
Others are totally fine reading a book. And that's, I think, up to parents, like to know your child, see what their capabilities are, what their strengths are, and then align their schooling with that. That's why homeschooling is so successful, because you can tailor it to your kids, to their personalities, to their strengths.
And that goes back to school choice, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe one kid would do way better in this school focusing on certain things and than the other kid.
Yeah. And then the final thing is safety. So I think that resonates with everyone throughout all ages, but especially with things that have been happening that are kind of been in the news, like Uvalde and the shooting that was just so devastating. And a lot of the newer kind of trends are to remove school safety officers from school, to like defund the police, all of this stuff. And I'm literally the opposite. No, put more safety officers in school, work with probation and the county sheriff, and figure out ways to have like a good relationship and encourage kids to work with their hands,
I remember
be busy.
in elementary school, we used to have the DARE program.
Oh, I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen DARE officers or the DARE program in years.
Yeah.
And I was surprised, like, why would you take DARE away? Like, I thought that was so cool. Officers would come out with their police dogs, and you learn that say no to drugs, and, like, promote safety, build a relationship with the police force.
Citrus Heights Police Department has a PALS program. PC something PALS, but they do that. When I worked at the Children's Receiving Home, we did have officers periodically come out and just kind of form a relationship, maybe hang out and do some fun things. And I know I've seen their like trucks in the community. So I do think that program still exists, but that would be lovely. We really need stuff like that, and also just have a positive interaction with police officers.
100%, I agree. How much would you be able to? I guess you would be able to affect a relationship with the police officers.
Absolutely.
In your community.
So as a school board member, you basically advocate for kids. So you're doing that with what you're doing in the boardroom with your policies, with your meetings, but you're also advocating for them with local government, with the community. You can create relationships and build community trust and partnerships. Like, that's one of the best things that you can do for schools.
Okay. How many terms can you serve?
So one term is 4 years, and there aren't currently board term limits.
Okay, so Mr.
McKibben.
in it till like...
He can be.
Actually, he's not in it. Last term was your last one, sir, with all due respect. Again, so no limits, 4 years apiece. That's a long commitment.
That is a long commitment.
That's, I mean, a year is like, okay, I could do this for a year, but so you're going in for 4 years. And I'm sure there's probably continual funding that you're going to need throughout the years to raise money.
I mean, just next election cycle. So if I were to run again after those 4 years, if I was that crazy, glutton for punishment, or really seeing some good change and want to like continue that, then you would have to fundraise all over again. And then I would be even more of a threat to the teachers union. So who knows how much money they would give to my opponent the following time.
And this is like a crazy question, but like, have you gotten like the teachers union reaching out to you or any threats from anybody that doesn't think your way?
No. I try to stay away. Like, I'm in my lane. I'm doing my thing. I'm busy. Like, this takes a lot of time. I'm working. I'm raising my kids. They're to that age where they have lots of extracurricular activities. So it's not just my social calendar, but now it's their social calendar. On Saturday, I spent half my day driving my teenager and picking him up from places with his friends. I'm like, enough. I remember now when we were kids, my mom would say, like, you've had too much fun. I'd say, Mom, can we go to the mall on Saturday? No, you had fun. Fun. It's too much fun. And that's what I wanted to tell him. Like, no, it's too much fun because I don't have time to do all these things.
Like, son, you don't understand. I'm trying to make your kid's future better.
Exactly. Yeah, no, he's a great kid. So he understands. Awesome. He has been door knocking with me faithfully, and he's really good at it. He's like my best volunteer. And he has this way about him that people just want to talk to him. So he's actually like my secret weapon.
That's awesome. Yeah. What does your husband think about all this?
He
has a wife. His kids have a mom. And now she's going to be a councilwoman. Or board member. Board member. Sorry, yes.
He's super supportive. So he's always very community minded. He is always encouraging me to do whatever. Like always. So with my career, with free time, he is behind me 100%.
Okay, that's awesome. Your local church, are they supportive? I mean, I'm sure they're supportive as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've spent like over 20 years in children's ministry. So I have like a huge, this cadre of potential volunteers. So they have been awesome. They've been coming out to help me canvas and making phone calls, text messages, donating. I could not do this without them.
Okay, that's awesome. Do you, besides your website, any like social media pages? Or
anything? Instagram and Facebook. On Facebook, it's Vote Tanya Kravchuk, and then Instagram is just Tanya Kravchuk.
Okay, awesome.
Very original.
I don't. I was gonna ask like more political questions, but I think we don't need to go there. I think honestly, our goal was to get you on and to spread your name. We have what, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
2.5, 3 weeks.
Nope. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Spread your name out. It it gives me so much hope that people in like my generation, and I don't know how many years we are apart, but like
I like how you phrased that. You didn't say how many years older you are, but you just said how many years apart. Thank you. Well played.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you for that.
It must be negligible. I'm sure it's just like a year or
It's probably
two.
a few months.
Yeah. Probably
but
born the same year.
I wouldn't doubt it. I'm from 82.
Yeah. We're just gonna leave it there.
So, but it honestly gives me hope. Like, it's so cool that people from my community or from our community are kind of standing up and willing to sacrifice. And I think it encourages other people to stand up. And maybe, hopefully, already you've seen like testimonies, or you've seen people like coming up to you and say, "Hey, thanks for doing this. Like, I want to help you," or "I want to be the next, Tanya Kravchuk." Or,
Oh, yeah. My kids, my nephews and nieces and my cousins and all these little kids, because my friends are coming out with their kids.
Yeah.
Even when we go canvassing, they're taking their toddlers in their strollers, their puppy, they're like, the whole fam.
Yeah.
And we're starting these conversations of, well, so if I'm canvassing with Josh Hoover, then I hear the 8-year-old saying, well, who's Josh Hoover and what's he running for? And all of a sudden we're talking about politics, and politics matter because policies matter.
Yeah.
And policies matter because people matter. And all of a sudden we're having a conversation about the future, and it's not like politically charged. It's about people.
Yeah.
And it's about our future with an 8-year-old. And that's awesome.
That's very healthy.
Yeah.
That's a healthy conversation to have. How can parents, I know there's like PTA stuff where parents.
PTA is for fundraising.
Okay, so thank you for that. Because one time PTA people were coming up to me and I'm like, okay, so what do you guys do? Scholastic money, this money, this money. What's something that parents can do that will actually like impact their school besides waste time? Like PTA is not a
Volunteer.
waste of time, but like,
It's not a waste of time. It's how they do fun, like field trips or book fairs or whatever,
Okay.
speaking of scholastic. So that's great. But you know what? San Juan School District has a budget of over $500 million. $500 million. $500 million
500 million?
for 45,000 students. I mean, it's a lot of students, but we lost 10,000 in the last 2 years. Enrollment is down, and it has been decreasing since the 90s, probably.
David, can you do 500,000 divided by 45,000?
500 million.
500 million.
Hold on. 500. Yes.
500 million
Million.
divided by 45,000. 11,100. That's 11,000. So 900-ish bucks a kid a month.
Yeah. That's an expensive private school.
That's an expensive private school. Like, that qualifies a better education.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I'm not against PTA, and
Yeah.
I'll give them the $10, whatever,
Yeah.
buy the gift card for the teacher or whatever we do. Like, that's fine. But also, like, legitimately, we're already paying for these services.
Right.
So if the school is not able to afford air conditioning or that extra, like my kids always complain, they're either too cold or too hot. I'm thinking, what is happening with these HVAC systems? And how much do I need to pay attention to
California,
them?
we don't even have enough power.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not go there.
Yeah.
But, drinking fountains or whatever, like you should have enough drinking fountains in your school. We have a $500 million budget. That's a facilities issue that needs to be taken care of. But again, bureaucracy, it's so slow. Someone needs to be in place to do that. People have to be on it. So you have to have effective board members. I mean, you need to vote for people who are going to say what they mean and mean what they say.
Okay.
And then, at the end of the day, it's policy. And so make sure that you are keeping them accountable too, because board meetings are public. So you can listen in via Zoom, or you can attend them in person, and you can talk about something that's on the agenda or just something that's on your heart. And you can go every single week. There's 2 board meetings a month, and you don't have to be a parent. You could be a community member. If you're a citizen, you have a say. So go and speak up. If you don't like something, go and talk there.
Okay. Is there like translation available for people
Yeah,
maybe that don't understand?
there
Okay.
is. Yeah, they're required to provide it, and then you have more than 2 minutes because of the translation. And you
Okay.
can also submit written comments
Okay.
too if you don't want to
Awesome.
go to the board
And
meeting.
just an example of like that, if you're persistent, it works. In our neighborhood, there was this park, had no drinking fountain. The toy thing was like breaking apart. And there's this older man. He's the nicest guy ever. And he had a dog. And he's like, I can never give my dog water. And so he wrote letters every week to the park, North Highlands
Parks and
Parks.
Rec.
Yeah, Parks and Rec. And he would walk around our neighborhood and be like, guys, email these people, email these people. And thanks be to him, we got a new playground,
Yay.
a drinking fountain, and we just had opening day a few weeks ago.
Nice.
And so it was like, it was so nice to see that, like, just because this older fellow cared, and the community kind of pitched in, to help him care
Yeah.
about themselves.
Yeah.
Things change around.
Yeah,
And
it
so-
takes one champion, one person to kind of rally everyone else.
Yes, Tanya. So I wanted to say thank you for being that champion, and I really hope people are rallying around you and supporting you. And on Saturdays, if you guys want to, I'm sure, but you probably post where you guys are
Yeah.
meeting to hand out
Yeah,
stuff.
go to my social media. The information is there,
Okay.
or website.
Perfect, Tanya. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me. I
Thank
had a
you.
blast.
Yes, thank you for coming on. One day these kids are gonna be grateful for what you did for them.
I don't know. If
They-
you're waiting around for kids to say thank you,
Well, that's why I mean one day. Like
Yeah.
it probably won't happen until they're like in their 30s and have graduated high school and look back and like, look, our schools could have went this way because this one lady Tanya came through.
Yeah, that's
She
okay.
turned it all around.
I live and work for the audience of one. So
Okay.
as long as he's happy, I'm
Amen.
doing my part. Like I have to be obedient to his calling, and I feel that everything is going to be okay. I do. One thing I want to say to parents is like there's so much stress and fear and anxiety and so many like things that are happening that there's like these two dangers. One could just be this apathy where you're like, oh, there's nothing I could do about it. I'm just not going to disengage. I don't know. And then the other one is this fear, like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. I have no idea how I'm going to navigate all of this. We need to move to another state. We need to homeschool. We need to can all our vegetables. We need to like do all these things. And maybe you do. Maybe that's great for your family, but also like, please don't live in fear. It's okay. God is in control. It's going to be fine. There's things that we can do. Like people are asking me about the COVID vaccine. Like the CDC just approved adding that to the list of
to the school recommendation.
for recommendation for children's vaccines.
Yeah.
Like who knows what's going to happen, a year from now, or we don't know. Like don't borrow trouble. Do what you can do. If you don't know what to do, do the next right thing and just leave it alone. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Just do the next right thing. And then calm down and like give it up. Because if you're living with all of this anxiety and stress, you're passing it on to the kids and you're
probably
not
making
being
not
helpful.
wise choices.
You're not making wise choices. So instead of living that way, just, do what you can. Do the next right thing, baby steps.
Okay. And if you don't know okay, this is a perfect question. Like somebody will wake up in the morning and they're stressed out and they're in fear and they don't know what the next right thing is or the baby steps are. Like, is there a hotline that they can reach out, or is there like a place where they can find some info?
It depends on what. I mean, I will tell you personally that they should pray.
Yeah.
So that's what they should do. They should not go to their phone because
Okay.
that's probably the number one reason for their anxiety and fear. Because if you're looking at news first thing in the morning or looking on social media, like that's going to fill you with all kinds
Get your
of
heartbeat up real quick.
No, avoid all of that. I really try to stay away from technology as much as I possibly can. It's just, gosh darn addictive and just pulls you
And
in.
it needs you for some reason
Right.
all the time.
But as much as you can, just really disengage from all of that and be present with your family, with your kids, and your mental health is going to improve vastly.
Okay. Is there somebody out there that offers like a vlog with things going on or things that parents should be paying attention to?
Kevin Kiley was kind of that person during 2020, the last 2 years. But now that he's moving on to Congress, I say with faith, I'm not sure if he's going to continue that. Maybe Josh Hoover will pick that up. But he was kind of keeping parents apprised of what was happening locally. But again, this idea came to me during this interview. So maybe that will be something that I do with my copious free time. So maybe I will add that on. I mean, I think that it's a great service to provide kind of a snapshot of things to pay attention to and actionable steps.
It is, because I'm not going to say I'm busier than you, but it'd be so nice just to get like fresh download of things where you don't have to go look and research. Because most of the times, even if something good is happening or in the interest of parents, it'll be tucked away behind something where you won't really find it, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Besides Kevin Kiley, I'm not sure I don't know of one that exists. There's podcasts. Like, I can give you all kinds of books and podcasts and websites, but it's not really what like you're suggesting. And I think it's a good idea. So maybe it needs to get done.
Okay.
Not committing to it 100%, but like if someone out there is hearing this idea, feel free to run with it because it's a solid idea.
You will not be persecuted for that.
No, it's yours.
Once again, Tanya, thank you for coming on. If you guys heard this beautiful lady talk, she wants what's good for our community, for our future, for our families. Please go to TanyaKravchuk.com, find her on Instagram. All the links will be below in the description. And like, if you've never shared a video or liked or anything, this is the one to share because it literally has impact on our future. So please do so. Thank you.